Nityananda Swarupaya Nityananda Vidayine Stutyaya Shrudigamyaya Shri Girishaya Mangalam. Today we will see the third and the final part of Parvati Khand of Rudra Samhita. Shiva demands Parvati as his consort. Parvati, after successfully accomplishing her penance, came back to her home. Meanwhile, Lord Shiva arrived in his form of Nataraj and started dancing in front of Parvati's mother Mena. He expressed his desire to marry Parvati, which made Mena furious. In the meantime, Himalaya arrived and she informed him what Shiva had said. Shiva then showed his divine appearance, but Himalaya, in his ignorance, again refused the offer. After Shiva went back, Himalaya had a feeling that perhaps it was Lord Shiva himself. Indra and other deities went to Lord Shiva and requested him not to marry Parvati, as it would make the earth devoid of all kinds of wealth. Lord Shiva, feeling pity, agreed to help them. So Lord Shiva went to Himalaya in the guise of a hermit and started cursing himself. Mena was deeply influenced by the hermit's words and decided not to marry Parvati with Shiva. Then Lord Shiva realized that Tarakasura should be killed. Then the Saptarishis, on the request of Shiva, went to Himalaya and tried to make him understand that there was not any other way out than marrying Parvati with Shiva. They also warned both Himalaya and Mena if they did not give their consent to marry Parvati with Shiva, then she would be forcibly abducted by Shiva, causing death and destruction to their whole clan. The Saptarishis then narrated the following story. Anaranya the king. There was a king named Anaranya who belonged to the lineage of the 14th Manu Indrasavarani. He was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. He had 5 queens from whom 100 sons and a very beautiful daughter named Padma were born. One day, while Padma was taking her bath in the Bhadra river, sage Pipilada arrived there. He became enchanted by Padma's beauty. He went to the king Anaranya and expressed his wish to marry Padma. He threatened him of dire consequences if she was not married to him. Anaranya became frightened and gave his daughter to him. Both the king and the queen went to the forest because of the sorrow. The queen died because of her grief. The king, because of his deep devotion toward Shiva, attained the abode of Shiva. Padma and Pipilad. At the time of his marriage, sage Pipilad was old and weak, but still Padma devotedly performed the duties of a faithful wife. To test her faithfulness towards her husband, Dharamraj arrived at the bank of that river where Padma was taking her bath. He was in the guise of a young and handsome prince. He coaxed Padma to leave behind her old husband and come along with him. Padma became furious and cursed him. Dharamraj became very pleased and revealed his true identity. He also asked as to how the effects of a curse would be nullified. Padma told him that his sins would result in having 4 legs during the era of Satya, but they reduced to 3 during the era of Treta, which would again reduce to 2 legs during the era of Dwapara, and ultimately he would have only 1 leg during the era of Kali. Padma also told him that even his single leg would disappear during the ending phase of Kali. This would appropriately act as an atonement for his sins. Dharamraj blessed her by saying that she would have 10 sons and also that her husband would possess youth and long life for eternity. After listening to the story, Himalaya agreed to marry Parvati with Shiva. The Saptarishis then went back to Lord Shiva and gave the good news to him. Lord Shiva's marriage procession. Lord Shiva invited all of his Ganas to the marriage ceremony. He also instructed sage Narada to intimate all the deities, sages, and the celestial entities. The 7 mothers, Brahmi, Maheshwari, Kaumari, Vaishnavi, Varahi, Aindri, and Chamunda, dressed him up beautifully. Shiva then performed all the necessary karmas to pacify the planet. At last, this wonderful marriage procession of Shiva proceeded towards the in-laws' house. Shiva proceeded with his marriage procession, which consisted of crores of his ganas and deities like Vishnu who were boarded on their vehicles. Even Narada and Lord Brahma were present in his marriage procession. When Mena saw that the marriage procession was coming, she curiously told Narada about her desire to see her son in law. Shiva wanted to teach her a lesson. He sent all the deities one by one. Mena mistook each one of them to be Shiva, but was later informed by Narada that in fact they were not Shiva but the attendants of Shiva. Right then, Shiva arrived with his ganas, his body coated with ashes on it. His ganas too were looking ferocious. Mena could not bear this horrible sight and lost her consciousness. She started crying and cursing everybody. At last, Lord Vishnu arrived and tried to pacify her anger. Shiva then appeared and showed his most enchanting beauty. Mena now became fully satisfied. Himalaya too felt proud of her daughter's good fortune. Shiva and Parvati were very delighted to see each other. After the marriage ceremony was over, sage Garg helped Himalaya in performing the rite of Kanyadan amidst the chantings of Vedic mantras. Rati, the wife of Kamadeva, seeing the moment opportune, arrived and requested Shiva to bring back her dead husband back to life. Feeling pity on her condition, Shiva brought back Kamadeva back to life from the ashes which Rati had given to him. On seeing her husband alive, Rati's heart was filled up with extreme joy. Shiva's departure with Parvati to Kailash. Shiva remained at his in law's house for many days. At last, it was time for Shiva to depart for Kailash accompanied by Parvati. Lord Shiva and Parvati were blissfully enjoying their marital status, unaware of the eagerness with which the deities were awaiting the arrival of their progeny. Thus ends the Parvati Khand of Rudra Samhita. Om Namah Shivaya.